Right. Under this study, we'll be treating indices involving quadratic equations. We already have 3 videos before this one. The first is lots of indices. Second deals with those lots of indices combined in one question, and we treated several questions there. Now the third video is indices involving simultaneous equations. Now this time around we are treating indices involving quadratic equations. So it will do you good to go back to and watch the first 3 videos before flowing very well with this one. Now the first question we have here is 3 raised to the power 2x plus 1 plus 7 bracket 3 raised to the power x minus 10 equals 0. And now when we have this kind of question, look at this. This term here, we will have a term. Of course, this equated to 0 is what should make you know that it's going to be equated to become quadratic equation. Another thing that you check is this first term, this second term, this third term. So it's going to be, of course, quadratic equation is normally in form of, let's say, we normally have something like x squared plus x plus a constant value equals to 0. Okay, so which is 1, 2, 3, the first, second, and third term. All right, and now we target to make sure that we have the same thing. Have a variable that will have square. First variable will have square, second will not have any square, and third will be constant. So that will be our focus here. Now, the first thing to do is to break this thing down. This plus, if it were minus, it will become division. Since it is plus, we'll not change to times. Okay, just like loss of indices I treated in one of the videos. Let's say this is 3 raised to the power 2x, 3 raised to the power 2x times 3 raised to the power 1. This one will also take its own base. Okay, 3 raised to the power 1 equals to, we normally take, say, 3, we take one of the bases and add up the powers. Because of multiplication law, we add up powers. Okay, so that means this thing now is same thing with this thing, just like we have here. So from here now, we'll break it down into this point. We now have plus 7 3 raised to the power x minus 10 equal to 0. Now at this point, having done that, you look at, we have 3 raised to the power x here, and if you watch very well, you'll be able to discover that we can get 3 raised to the power x from here also. So we extract that 3 raised to the power x and put the other 2 in brackets. Okay, this is same thing. S times 2 is same thing with 2s, as well as 2 times s is 2s. Okay, now times 3 raised to the power 1 plus this is still the same thing. Now that we have succeeded in getting 3 raised to the power s and 3 raised to the power s, we substitute this 3 raised to the power s with a variable, which we are in this question we're taking y. You can use any other variable. Okay, now we have from here, this 3 raised to the power s is now y, and power of 2 is still there, times 3 raised to the power 1 is 3, 7 3 raised to the power y, 3 raised to the power s is y. Of course, we say let 3 raised to the power s equals to y. Then minus 10 equals to 0. Here, following the bed mass, times will come first. Then 3 times y squared is equal to 3y squared plus 7y minus 10 equals to 0. Now, this is not a quadratic equation. This is the first term having power of 2. Second term, a variable without a power. And then third term is a constant. Now, equated to 0. Now, at this point, we have 3. This first coefficient here is the value for A. Second is the value for B. Third is the value for C. In other words, our A will be 3, our B will be 7, positive 7, and our C will be negative 10. Okay, that's minus 10. Now, using formula method of quadratic equation, we have to solve this out. Now, we now have y is equals to minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That's the formula for quadratic equation. Now, we now have y equals to, we now substitute these values. That is, a is 3, b is 7, c is minus 10. Now we have minus 7, okay, b is already 7, okay, from here. And then plus or minus b is still 7 here, b 7 squared minus 4, a is 3, okay. Now times c is minus, from the formula c is minus 10, okay, don't forget this minus. All right, now we have 2 times 3, a is 3, okay. Now we now have y is equals to minus 7 plus or minus 4, 7 raised to the power 2 is equal to 49, plus minus times minus is equal to plus, and then 4 times 3 is equal to 7, and then it's equal to 12. 12 times 10 is equal to 120. All right, all over 2 times 3 is equal to 6. We have y is equal to minus 7 plus or minus square root of 49 plus 120 is equals to 169, and square root of 169 is equals to 13. Okay, progressing. Now we have y is equals to minus 7 plus or minus 13 all over 6. Or now we have plus or minus. So we are treating, since there's nothing more to work on the respective sides of this expression, we have to work on the operators individually. We now have plus on this side and minus on this side, which everything is still the same thing here. Okay, so y is equals to this on plus, and here or this one is minus. Now we now have y is equals to minus 7 plus 13 is equal to 6. You're owing 7, you got 6. When you pay the 7, you'll be having 6. That's positive. All over this 6. Or minus 7 minus 13, you're owing 7, you owe 13 again, you'll be owing 20 all over 6. Now we say y is equals to 1. Okay, of course, 6 over 6 is equals to 1. Or minus 3 can go into 20. Sorry, 2 can go into 20 to give us minus 10. As in 2 into minus 20 minus 10. 2 into 6 is equals to 3. Okay, so we have y to be equal to 1 or minus 10 over 3. But recall that we are not dealing with y. There was no y in the question, so we were the one that brought about this y at this point. We said let's 3 raised by x equals to y. Okay, now at this point we now recall that 3 raised by x is equals to y. Now we now say when y is equals to 1, of course 1, we got 1 for y. We now say 3 raised by s is equals to 1 is now y. Y is now 1. Okay, so we have 3 raised by. Now we look for a way from exponential equation. You should watch the previous videos very well so that you'll be able to flow along with all these ones. Now we have 3 raised by s equals to 3 raised by 0. Okay, anything raised by 0 is equals to 1. Okay, so the reason why we use 3 is because we have 3 here. So we wanted to make the base the same in order to cancel out the base. Okay, cancel out the base and equate the power, which we now have s equals to 0. Now when y is equals to minus 10 over 3, we now have 3 raised by x. 3 raised by s equals to y is now minus 10 over 3. Now in this case, there's no way you can make the power the same or make the base the same between these two. So since it is not possible to do, especially with this minus and this fraction, what we have to do is to say it has no value. Although in some cases we use logarithm to solve, but in this case it is not possible. So therefore we now say s is equal to 0 or no value. Okay, all right. Now the next question we have on our list here is question number 2. 2 raised to the power s plus 2 raised to the power 2s plus 1 minus 3 equals to 0. Now 2 raised to the power s plus, we do the same thing. This is still our focus now. Now instead of plus, we now do times. We now say times. Now 2, the same base 2 here. Now we also come in here, taking this other value as its power. If it were 2 here, I would still put 2 here. If it were 3, I would still put 3 here. Now we now have minus 3 equals to 0. So 2 raised to the power s plus 2 raised to the power. In this case, we have 2 raised to the power s. So we try to extract another 2 raised to the power s from here, which is 2 raised to the power s and the power of 2. This multiply will still give us the same thing. Now times 2 raised to the power 1, of course, is 2. Minus 3 equals to 0. Now we now say, since we have gotten 2 raised to the power s and 2 raised to the power s, we now say let that 2 raised to the power s equals to y. Okay, all right, this is x here. All right, at this point we now say y plus y squared times 2. Of course, this is now y plus y squared, okay, times 2 minus 3 equals to 0. So we now have y plus 2 times full body mass times 2 come first. 2 times y squared is equal to 2y squared minus 3 equal to 0. Now we have to arrange it in order. Square should come first. The one that has square should come first. The one that have no square, which is also variable, comes follow, and then constant value third, okay, equal to 0. All right. Now in this case, a is equal to this coefficient of the square value, which is 2. Then b is coefficient of, there's no number here, it means invisible 1. Okay. Now c is now this minus 3. Okay, minus 3. Now following the formula method of quadratic equation, we have y to be equals to minus, where we have b, we now substitute to 1. Okay, square root of plus or minus square root of b is now 1. Okay, 1 square minus 4 times 2 times bracket minus 3. Okay, 2 is this a. Okay, this is a, and then c is minus 3. Okay, that's minus 3 for this c. All right, all over 2 times a is now 2. Okay, 2. All right, then y is equal to minus 1 plus or minus square root of 1 raised to the power 2 is equal to 1. Now look at the signs here. We have minus, plus, minus. Minus times plus is minus. Minus times minus is plus. So we have plus here. 4 times 2 is 6. 6 times 3 is 24. All right, all over 2 times 2 is equal to 4. Now y is equal to minus 1 plus or minus 1 plus 24 is equal to 25. Okay, now we have 4. Now y is equal to minus 1 plus or minus, of course this is plus or minus. Okay, all right, we now have plus or minus square root of 25 is equal to 5 all over 4. Now y is equal to minus 1 plus, we now, since there's nothing more to work on the respective terms here, we now work on these operators respectively. We now have minus 1 plus will come first, plus 5 all over 4, and in this case we'll be having minus 1 minus 5 all over 4. Now we have y is to be equals to minus 1 plus 5. You're only 1, you got 5. When you pay the 1, you'll be having 4. So we have positive 4 over 4. Or minus 1 minus 5 is equals to minus 6 all over this 4. Now y is equals to 4 over 4 is equals to 1, or 2 can go into 6 to give us 3. 2 into 4 to give us 2. All right, now we've gotten the values for y. Still recall that we are not dealing with y. The question came with x. So we have to recall where we brought this y from. Of course, it's from here where we say let 2 raised to the power s equals to y. Now, recall that 2 raised to the power s equals to y. Now, when y is equals to, the first value for y is equals to 1. Now, 2 raised to the power s is equals to 1. Instead of y, we now use 1. Instead of y, we use 1. Okay? Now, we now look at the base. We now have to make the base the same. Okay? From exponential equation in the other videos. Now, we now have 2 raised to the power s equals to 2 raised to the power 0. We use one of the two, the same base. And anything raised to the power 0, of course, is equals to 1 too. So 2 raised to the power 0 is equals to 1. Now that the bases are the same, which is our target, we cancel out the bases and equate the power. So we have s equal to 0. Now when y is equals to minus 3 over 2, this is no value. Okay? So therefore, in other words, therefore, x is equal to 0 or no value. Okay? Either 0 or no value. Now, let's prove, you can prove to know the answer you got from the so by substituting the values you got into the question. So here we have 2 raised to the power s plus 2 raised to the power 2s plus 1 minus 3 equals to 0. Now, this 0, you substitute this anywhere you see s, put 0. So we have 0 here. Instead of s, we have 0 here. Okay, now any 2 raised to the power 0 is equals to 1 plus 2 raised to the power 2 times 0 is equal to 0 plus 1 is equals to this 1, okay, and minus 3. All right, we have 1 plus 2 raised to the power 1 is equal to 2, okay, minus 3. Now, 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. 3 minus 3 is equal to 0, which is this 0 here. So, in other words, everything here is equal to what we have here. So, we have 0, 0 on both sides. Okay, now, in other question, we have 3. The third question is 11 bracket 3 raised to the power s minus 1 close bracket equals to 3 raised to the power 2s plus 2. Now we have 11 into bracket. Now our target is still in this where we have 2 terms as the power. So we have to separate the powers with the respective bases. So two of them will have the same base of 3, 3. We have 3 raised to the power s. Instead of minus, now we now use division. Unlike the other questions where we'll be dealing with times. Okay, that is for plus, we use times. For minus, we use division. You can watch other videos to get more details. Okay, now we have 2 raised to the power s divided by 3 raised to the power 1 equals to 3 raised to the power 2s plus 2. Now, this division can be treated in this form, okay? Now that we have it in this form, for us to remove this division and have a plain figure, we have to divide everything here by the LCM of the denominators. So, this is over 1, this is over 1. LCM is equal to 3. So, multiplying everything by the LCM, that's 3. Now, we have 3 times everything here, and then 3 times this one, and then 3 times 2. Okay, we now have 3 will cancel this 3. So, we have this one plain left. 3, of course, cannot. This one is having power, so we still leave the 3 behind. So, 3 times 2 is equals to 6. Okay, now, what I did here also, of course, since I know that this one is having 3 raised to the power s, this one also, I gave it to the 3 raised to the power s first before the 2. Of course, s times 2 is equals to 2s. So we now have, we have 3 raised to the power s and 3 raised to the power s. We now say let 3 raised to the power s equals to y. Of course, from here we have 11. Instead of this, we have y equals to 3, then y squared, okay, plus 6. Then 11y equals to 3y squared plus 6. Okay, 3 times this 3 will now come into play. Multiplying this, we have 3y squared plus 6. Now, minus 3y raised to the power 2. Of course, I have to arrange this. This 3y squared should come first. The one that has square should come first, followed by the one that doesn't have a square, but a variable. And then the third will be a constant value equal to 0. Now, 3y squared crossing coefficient becomes minus 3y squared. This is still at the left hand side of the equation, so it still maintain the sign. That is plus 11y. Now, this minus 6 will still, plus 6 will cross the equality sign to come over here to become minus 6, equated to, since there's nothing more here, we say equal to 0. Now, at this point, we have quadratic equation. We now extract the values that will be for the variable. A is equals to minus 3, B is equals to 11, C is equals to minus 6. Okay. Now, following the formula method of quadratic equation, we have, this is the formula method. You have to master this. So we have y is equals to minus, where we see b gave us 11 from here, and then c is equals to minus 6. So an a, this a here became minus 3 from here. Okay, just substitute into, we have 2 times a is minus 3, of course. So y is equals to minus 11 plus or minus square root of 11 squared is equals to 121 minus, now minus times minus is equal to plus, plus times minus is equals to minus. So that's why we're having minus here. Now minus 72 all over plus times minus is equals to minus, 2 times 3 is equal to 6. Y is equals to minus 11 plus or minus square root of 121 minus 72 is equals to 49. Okay, all over minus 6. Now at this point, with square root of 49 is equals to 7. Okay, now y is equals to, since there's nothing more to work on both sides, we now work on this plus or minus respectively. Plus come over here, minus over here. Now minus 11 plus 7 is equals to minus 4. Minus 11 minus 7 is equals to minus 18. Okay, now y is equals to, plus minus will cancel minus to give us plus. 2 into 4 will give us 2. This is small, to the lowest fraction is 2 over 3. 2 into 6 is of course 3. Or 18, 6 into 18 is equals to 3. Okay, so this is, okay, so minus will cancel minus. Now that we've gotten two values for y, still recall that we are not dealing with y. The equation came with s. Okay, now, but if the equation came with y, with s, that means we will say we'll not use y again for this variable. So for this as this variable, so we use another variable for it. Okay, now I say when y is equal to 2 over 3, we now have 3 raised to the power s, okay, equals to this 2 over 3. Of course, this is still not going to have a value, because even if you try to use, there's no way you can make the base the same in this case, or make the power the same to equate the base. Impossible. So we say it has no value. Now, when y is equals to 3, when y is equal to 3, okay, now it's not every time that we have no value. In another question that I'm going to solve, I think there will be value for the both of them. So we have y is equals to, when y is equal to 3, 3 raised to the power x, which is what we are recalling, equals to y is now 3, okay? All right. Now, this is having a visible power of 1. Anything raised to the power 1 is itself. So we have, since the bases are the same, we cancel out the bases and equate the power. In other words, we have x equals to 1. In other words, x is equals to 1 or no value. Okay. Now, the fourth question here is question number 4, 2 raised to the power 2x plus 1 minus 9 bracket 2 raised to the power x plus 4 equals to 0. Now, we have 2 raised to the power 2s times 2 raised to the power 1 minus 9. Of course, the same thing we did in the other questions. We take the same base. We share the same base for the two powers. This one will have its own base. This one will also have its own base, the same base. Okay, power of 1. Now, instead of plus, we now have times. Minus 9, of course, this one is the same. Now, we have to extract 2s as we have 2 raised to the power s here. We also extract 2 raised to the power s. So let the 2 come inside brackets. Now we succeeded in having 2 raised to the power s, 2 raised to the power s. We have to say, let that 2 raised to the power s equals to y. Now, instead of 2 raised to the power s, we now have y squared times 2 minus 9 y. Of course, 2 raised to the power s is equals to y now. Now plus 4 equals to 0. Now at this point, we have 2 times y squared is equal to 2y squared minus 9y plus 4 equals to 0. At this point, our a is equals to 2, our b is equals to minus 9, our c is equals to 4. Okay. Now, this is the formula for quadratic equation. Now, we now extract, substitute all these values for the variables into this. Okay. Now, of course, we now have y is equals to, this is having minus, this b is, the formula is having minus. So it's the b here is having minus also. So you put in bracket so that minus times minus will give us plus. In some, if it is positive, we just go ahead and say minus 9. All right. So minus times minus equals to 9, positive 9. Minus 9 raised to power 2 is positive 81. If you press in your calculator minus 9 raised to power 2, it will give you minus 81. But if you put in bracket and press, it will indicate that the square is affecting both the minus and the 9. So minus square is equal to plus. 9 raised to power 2 is equal to 81. Now minus times plus plus is equal to minus, and then 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 4 is equal to 32. All over 2 times 2 is equal to 4. Y is equal to 9 plus or minus square root of 81 minus 34 is 32 is equal to 49. All over 4. Y is equal to 9 plus or minus 7. All over 4. Of course, square root of 49 is equal to 7. Now y is equal to 9 plus or minus 7. Since you're having plus or minus and there's nothing more to work on both sides of the term, we have to separately solve the plus and minus, okay? Just like we've been doing in other questions. Now we have y is equal to 9 plus 7 is equal to 16 over this over 4, or 9 minus 7 is equal to 2 over 4. Now we have y, 16 over 4 is equal to 4, or 1 over 2. Now recall that 2 raised to the power s, we've gotten y, value for y, okay? Now recall that 2 raised to the power s equals to y. And when y is equals to 4, 2 raised to the power s is equals to 4, okay? So y is now 4 in this case. Now we have 2 raised to the power 2, we have to make the base the same, and 2 raised to the power 2. So we have to cancel the basis this point, s is equals to 2, okay? Is x equals to 2. When y is equals to 1 over 2, now we have recall that 2 raised to the power s is now equals to, the y there is now equals to 1 over 2 for this one. In this case, we have 2 raised to the power s equals to, this 1 over is treated as negative index, that's minus 1. You can watch other videos to get more explanation there. So we have, at this point, we now cancel the basis and equate the power. So x equals to minus 1. In other words, s equals to minus 1 or these two. Okay. Now the next question there is question number 5, which we have 5 raised to the power 2s plus 1 minus 6 bracket 5 raised to the power s close bracket plus 1 equals to 0. Now we have 5 raised to the power. So in this case, we will still separate. Instead of plus, we now have times. We have 5 raised, each of them will have their own basis, raised to the power 1. In this case, we now have, everything is still the same here. Now, we separate 5 raised to the power x, and just like we have 5 raised to the power s here. So now, 5 raised to the power s is now y. We now give it a variable y. Now, we have y squared times 5 minus 6 into bracket y. Okay, this is now y. Plus 1 equal to 0. Now 5 y, of course, 5 times y squared is equal to 5y squared minus 6 plus 1 equal to 0. Now this is now quadratic equation. We now solve it with formula method. Extracting the values for the variables in formula method. The first coefficient here is 5, which is a. Second coefficient here is minus 6. Third coefficient here is just plus 1. Okay, now we have minus, y is now equals to minus brackets from the formula minus, then b only is minus 6. Now close bracket plus or minus bracket minus 6 square, okay? Minus 4 times a is 5, 6 equals to 1, all over 2 times 5. Now y is equal to 6 plus or minus square root of 36 minus, of course, minus 6 raised to the power 2 is equal to 36, okay? Of course, minus times minus is equal to plus. Now, minus times plus is minus, minus times plus again is minus. So we have 4 times 5 is equal to 20. 20 times 1 is 20. All over 2 times 5 is equals to 10. Okay, now at this point we have y equals, equal to 10 here. Y equal to 6 plus or minus 36 minus 10 minus 20 is equal to 16. All over 10. Now we have square root of 16 is equal to 4. Now we have succeeded in solving on both sides. Nothing more to work on the both sides, both terms. We have y is equal to plus here, minus here. Okay. Now we have y is equal to 10 over 10. Of course, 6 plus 10. 6 plus 4 is equal to 10. Or 6 minus 4 is equal to 2. All over 10. Now y is equal to 10 over 10 is equal to 1 or 1 over 5. Now recall that 5 raised to the power s equals to 1. Y. Okay. Now that we've gotten 1 and 1 over 5 for y. Now we now have y, and when y is equals to 1, remember 5 raised to the power s equals to y is now 1 in this case. Now 5 raised to the power s is equals to, anything raised to the power 0 is equals to 1. So for us to make the base the same, we still take 5 and raise to the power 0. so that 5 raised to the power z is equal to 1. Now that the bases are the same, we cancel out the bases and equate the power. So s equal to 0. Now when y is equal to 1 over 5, we have y, of course, y is equal to 5 raised to the power minus 1. And, okay, sorry, not, we are dealing with 5s, okay? So we have 5 raised to the power s equals to 5 raised to the power minus 1. So now that the bases are the same, we cancel out the bases, okay? And then equate the powers. That's s equals to minus 1. In other words, s is equals to minus 1 or 0.